Welcome to my channel. This is a reading for Aries for the month of May 2020. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get a lot of the readings out early enough, so I'm just staggering them here a little bit. This one will be for Aries for May 18th to the end of May. So it's not for the whole of May, but just for that fraction. So May 18th to the end of May 2020. I'll just give you a quick rundown. It is a career and finance reading because it is just for the latter part of May. I have pulled a few cards just for general energies for the remaining part of May, which may overlap a little bit as well, but also for the career and finance, there's maybe a few less cards than I would normally pull. I'm limited by my equipment here, and so unfortunately I will have to try to pull the cards forward for you to see, and my candles keep going out, so I'll just have to manage that as I go along. So this is the career and financial aspect, which is the cards along the side here, or more toward the center. The cards, generally I don't read a lot of reversals, but I will if it seems relevant, and I feel in this case that it is. So there's a couple of reversals here. These are the main cards for the career and finance, and then below are the clarifiers. So these are all the clarifiers, and of course there are a couple of reversals here with Queen of Pentacles and the Four of Wands. I also have general energies here with the Lady of the Mirror, Thorns card, and Birth. And I am using a few other decks here actually, just to keep it interesting. I sometimes will pull from different decks, but I'm using, this is actually a gypsy deck, so it's just regular cards, but they do still play out with some relevancy for this reading. These are the cards I've got on the side with Financial Discipline, Pride, and Stuck in the Mud, Moonlight. And then these are three cards that I've pulled, Knight of Ariel, Queen of Raphael, and Four of Gabriel. These are actually the cards that I'm using as part of the advice cards, which I'm also using the Gypsy deck, which is just the regular tarot cards, as just again a little more clarification for advice. And I also am using, I've got two other cards down here, Empress and the Five of Swords, which I'll get to toward the end. So I'll just quickly mention the decks that I'm using here. So I am using, first off, the fortune telling deck, which is just the playing card deck. And that one is actually, I'm not sure who that one is actually by. Jonathan D. The other is the Steampunk card, tarot cards, which are the two that I pulled toward the end there, which is the Empress and the Five of Swords. It's a little beaten up on my one card there, but nonetheless, it's a great deck. I'm also using the Book of Runes card. That one is actually toward that's Ralph Bloom, and that is the Wholeness card and Breakthrough. And then I've also got the Enchanted Map Oracle cards, which is Colette Baron Reed. And I am using, sorry, looking for those ones here. These ones. So that's Stuck in the Mud and Moonlight. And I'm also using the numerology guidance deck, which is Michelle Buchanan, and that would be the Financial Discipline and the Pride cards, which I'll pull forward again toward the end, or as I go through. And I'm also using the Fortune reading cards by Sharina Starr, which are those at the back here, and that's the Birth and the Thorns card. So, oh, and also the Archangel Power deck, and that is by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. So that would be the Four of Gabriel, Queen of Raphael, and then the Knight of Ariel as well. Those again are the advice cards that I've pulled. So the last card was the Lady of the Mirror, which is toward the back here, and that one is the Wisdom of the Hidden Realms deck, and that's by Colette Baron Reed. Okay, so I'll get right into it. Overall, I feel that you are dealing with something specific in your emotional life here. I don't get into a lot of details on relationship readings, although I do feel that they always interact or overlap with career and finance and some other aspects of our moving forward. So I do touch on it, but it's not really a full relationship read or anything like that. It is fairly general, as well as I have mentioned in other readings. So, if it resonates with you, take what you can from it. Don't try to force it. It is something that I feel that tarot energies generally work by overlapping. I don't feel that, even though it resonates, some of the elements resonate for the month of May, I do feel a lot of times those energies will carry over. I think you start to see the start of some of the issues that are going on for the month of May or June or whatever it is the month is that's being read. But I feel that you're constantly working on these things, and sometimes there's always well, not always, but sometimes there is a back and forth energy where we feel like we've resolved something, or a darker part of ourself all of a sudden emerges again, and that's 2 or 3 months later and we're dealing with the issue again. So as much as some things feel as though they're not really being resolved, I feel that the nature of humanity is that we're constantly working and evolving, and there's always a bit of a push-pull, and always a going back to some of the unresolved places where we need to heal. So as far as integrating some of the dark parts of ourself, which I feel this reading is going to touch on a little bit, I feel that what happens a lot of times is some of those darker energies, or those places, or those areas where we repress something because we don't really accept it. I think on some conscious level, it becomes conscious into our awareness so that we can work on it. So think of it that way. I know it's sort of a Freudian deal there, but I still feel that there is some areas that are going on in the month of May that you are healing from, and I feel that there's some kind of relationship issue that you're dealing with that does involve your finances. And I do feel that you might be holding something back, or you're either being too confrontational about it in an underhanded way. So passive aggressive kind of nature going on there, not sure exactly, but from what I gleaned from some of the layout, I feel that there is some issue regarding a relationship that you're involved with that is overlapping into your finances, and just to be treading a little more carefully in how you deal with it, just because I feel that there is the potential for you to go into a little darker side of yourself to deal with it. And I think there might be some long-standing consequences, repercussions for doing that. So, I mean, the middle road oftentimes is the best road. As things emerge, we can deal with things incrementally, a little bit at a time, instead of as a full blowout and trying to deal with the whole of a situation, because it's often too many issues at once to be able to resolve it. As well, sometimes whatever concern arises isn't necessarily about that person. It could be just that we are in a place of healing or uncertainty, or just an overall overwhelmed place emotionally, and we may not handle things as balanced as we could to arrive at a workable solution for all parties involved. So anyway, as I mentioned, I feel this is going to impact your finances in some way. But anyway, we'll start off with just the general energies of the reading itself. Because I do also feel that there's some cards here, as I mentioned earlier, with the Empress and the Five of Swords, that speak to a breakthrough of some sort. And you also have some cards here about breakthrough and wholeness that are also repeating with the rune cards. So I feel that there's some repetitive energies there, which make it a lot more impactful that you pay attention to those areas. Okay, so starting with the fortune cards, those are the ones at the back here. So I'll just try to pull that forward. So the birth card, is universal energy, which brings you opportunity and possibility. So because, I mean, it can, as I say, it's a general energy, so it can speak to a few different areas here. Certainly there's new possibilities and opportunities for that transformation, but I feel for you, it's not just on a singular level, I feel that there's some kind of change that's going through with a relationship of some sort. Could be a business relationship, doesn't have to be a personal relationship, friendship, something along that line. And I felt that there would be some possible thoughts of vengeance or something along that line, that I felt was more along the lines of your energy coming through versus someone else, but just to keep that in check. But either way, this particular card is about a chance to start over. It's a new phase in your life. So again, it's a chance, it's that opportunity, but you have to be willing to be open to it. If you're hanging on to something that is blocking you from moving forward, it's going to, stymie any real growth here. So it's not to say you won't see any growth for the month of May, from the 18th to the close of May, but because the card does speak to some kind of transformation going on here, some kind of new journey anyway, that you will be likely to be successful at. And again, I feel with the energies of life, a lot of times these things resurface again. We deal with things in incremental stages. Not everything is dealt with within a week or 2 weeks. So it's not to say that the month-to-month readings don't have any relevancy, but I do feel that they have some meaning where things begin to take shape, or come up with some direction that we are starting to move in. And when you're persistent enough and in trying to resolve, whether it's a money issue, whether it's an emotional issue, eventually, if you're consistent enough, you will see some long-term effect that is that has some real significant change for you. So we don't often pay attention to the small changes that occur in life, and that's oftentimes what happens month to month, in my opinion anyway, for tarot. So it's not that changes aren't happening, they are happening, but we don't often consider the smaller stages or of understanding as anything considerable enough to move us ahead. But in actual fact, they often are things that are moving us ahead into a better place, but we just take them for granted. So anyway, this is also could speak to a brand new love affair of some sort, or new family members, any kind of birth, that literal birth coming through with pregnancy, which could also be relevant with the Empress card. This is also speaking to, you growing on a personal level and expanding. So again, however it resonates for you, there's many different meanings, many different people that this would be impacting. All Aries are not going through the exact same events. It may be events similar, but in different areas of their life. So insofar as it resonates for you, whether it's, related to the birth of a child or the birth of an idea or birth of a new relationship, I do feel there's something new that's starting there. So again, it's just giving you some reassurance that whatever struggles that you're dealing with, whether it's fertility, whether it's self-doubt, whether it's just a personal situation that's going on for you in business or in a personal relationship, those are, you're finding solutions in the month of May. There's some things that are coming through because it is a card of creation. Even if you were starting a new business, this could also speak to, you moving ahead in that direction. So it is just that you're starting to listen to your intuition, or perhaps you have been throughout the months. Some months are a little more significant than others, and I feel this is a month where you are going to be paying more attention to your intuition, or at least it's stronger. You have stronger intuition, whether you pay attention to it or not. That's entirely up to you, but the cards speak to it being quite strong. So again, it's a matter of whether or not you choose to listen to it, because there were some cards that I felt a little push-pull. So again, I feel that you've made some achievements in previous months and were able to move ahead on some level as far as your career front, whether it was a new job and things were progressing well, but I still feel that, there's more to be done. But again, there's some upheaval with the Tower moments coming through as well. And we also have thorns, which speaks to the same. So thorns are weathering the challenges ahead, which will bring in a new and positive future. So this card is letting you know that there's going to be some challenges and changes and some burdens, anything along that line, whether it's mentally distressing you, or disappointments, letdowns. You might be looking at your friendship list and deciding, who stays, who goes, who you've got boundaries around, who's loyal to you, who's not, and you're letting go of things that don't serve you anymore. So I do feel that you are going through some kind of a personal rebirth. Whoever I'm more specifically speaking to, I mean, I do feel that there's overlap with Aries, as I say, going through different circumstances on different fronts. But I think with this particular reading, there is more specifically someone or a group of people that are relating to more of the emotional challenges. So it is about possible chaos coming through here with the thorns, and you're being tested. And so just to remember, anytime there are some problems in our life or difficulties, everybody's going to get them, because that's how you evolve. So it's not that there will never be challenges ahead. There will always be challenges ahead. It's how you choose to deal with it when you listen to the divine or your spirit or your angels, or however spirit comes through for you, or angels that that have passed on that were close to you. However you receive those messages is important for you to help bring forward into your current life, to be able to weather those challenges for a more, I don't want to say necessarily a more positive outcome, but certainly a less dramatic outcome. I mean, there's the hard route, there's the easier route. If we have to change, then it certainly stands to reason that it would be far more reasonable to consider that fork in the road. Do you want to take the hard route or the easy route? Sometimes the hard route can be a very quick growing experience, which really brings you to a place of enlightenment. But at the same token, there's a lot of sacrifices, and you might have taken on some other burdens in doing it that way. But if you do listen to the divine and spirit and those kinds of things, like I say, however they resonate for you, in synchronicities, seeing, triple numbers or double numbers, or feathers or dimes, there's many different symbols that speak to people, that help us to put us in touch with enlightenment. And if we were to even reflect back into the Mayan times, there's stories about even rocks grounding us, and having been how the ancients would use certain types of rocks that would contain energy, or quartz, things that actually had a stronger magnetic field around it. Those are points of power. Those are things, symbols that help us to resonate with gods or spirits or things in that day, as are tattoos in the practice of today. In the olden days, or in the ancient times, there was some belief with the Mayans that sky people were a part of the universe and helped us in some way of creation, whatever you believe. Again, these are just stories. But my point of that is that people would identify with those gods or those godlike entities by taking on tattoos, or taking on ritualistic symbols that would help them to bring them to a point of spirituality. And much in the same way that we do with tattoos and wearing symbols and jewelry, or holding on to crystals and those kinds of things to help us to connect. So don't take those things lightly, because I do feel that a lot of times we all need some level of grounding, and whether that's through meditation or in just hanging on to primitive things, like I said, with stones. Certain stones are things that you might be drawn to just even on a walk, may help you to connect with something that you need at that time. So, again, those are synchronicities in life. So going back to thorns, sorry, I tend to be a little winded, but going back to thorns, it's also representing a card where there could be some kind of an end of a relationship, as I said, in terms of friends, people that you're putting boundaries around. Not that you may be excluding them entirely, but you may have felt that they've kind of run their course and no longer are relevant for who you are becoming. Because I do feel you're going through some kind of a transition here, and if it is relating to the end of a relationship, it's not to say that it's the end, the final end of that relationship. It's just the end of the old way that that relationship was dealt with. So you are able to clear the air, and it can be saved depending on how you deal with your circumstances. How you approach it really matters. So if it has any significance to you to put in that extra effort, sometimes taking action in a different way by doing without doing, because that's a really strong part of this reading, is what I also felt that was coming through with some of the cards. Doing without doing, you can still achieve things without putting in significant effort. Sometimes when we try to push ahead to get our way and we use some manipulation tactics or try to set it up so things go in our favor, it really works against us. And I felt that there would be some hits to your reputation on this front in the way that people see you. So that was a warning that I felt was coming through on more than one card. So your reputation, your integrity will be damaged if you don't consider your actions for the month of May and whatever this Tower moment is that's coming up. Because as I say, there's some kind of a battle. There's also an end cycle here. It does deal with, a traditional relationship of some sort here. And with the balance being out, sorry, I guess that's not really visible. With the balance being out with the Hierophant and the Four of Wands, I do feel that there is some issue that needs your attention on that level. So again, with the Thorns, it is a repeat through this reading that you need to pay attention to. Some kind of a relationship and the way in which you deal with it is really important, because the whole point is, you don't have to have harmony by making peace with everybody and trying to appease everyone. Certainly self-care matters, and that also came through in the reading, but it does mean choosing your battles wisely. So not taking on the whole of an argument, but certainly taking a look at the aspects that most matter at this time for you to address, and then, making time and space down the road for dealing with the other elements. But anyway, again, there's speaking to Thorns, it is about, trying to avoid arguments, where tempers are out of control and all of that. And things get, it could even be about money, actually, because we are dealing with the King of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles, and these are out of alignment here. So I do feel that there is some kind of imbalance there. Could be, again, just two energies between, the male and the female. It doesn't have to be specifically, I'll go through that toward the end, the characteristics of each card, but I do feel that it's some kind of imbalance around the money, or it will cause an imbalance around the money if you move into a different, if you take a road without having some kind of self-control, and if it's too self-centered and confrontational, it can limit you in getting to this breakthrough that I feel is what you need here. And I do feel the breakthrough is possible because you have the Five of Swords and the Empress. But I'm also going to take those cards as individually at the end here, because I feel as they were clarifying each other, but I also feel that there is some energies specifically that are relevant to you. Anyway, okay, so back to the Thorns, just to wrap it up. It is about avoiding any, financial risk-taking, that kind of thing. Watch your bank balance, maybe there's unexpected bills that are coming through, things that you weren't really prepared for, and certainly it's a time of rebuilding so that you can enjoy a more positive outlook, but you still need to be aware of your current surroundings to be able to make some careful decisions here. And again, with that Thorns telling you to be careful with your money, you also had the financial discipline card. And this is with the numerology deck. So I do feel that you need to just rein it in for the month of May, or the remaining parts of May, with your finances, because you do have, it's not a lot to go into on this card. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. You know, if you were trying to build some stability for yourself, you know, the only way to do that is to, you know, just temper your finances. And because, as I say, maybe there's an unexpected bill or something that's coming through here, but set the intention to, you know, save and continue to save, because there has been uncertainty globally anyway for everybody, you know, with the quarantine issues. And I think that unnecessary spending right now would not be to your advantage. So maybe there's a vehicle or a house, you know, repair, or child's expenses of some sort that come up. But I just feel that you just need to slow down your spending before you know, you are unstable with your finances. So if you want to improve your financial situation, you know, like attracts like, you have to, as I said, set the intention to save, and then, you know, build on it, right? Like anything, action is the magic right there. So in a lot of ways, because our mind is very powerful. We do all have a magnetic field surrounding us, and we become more impactful when we direct our energies in a more specific way versus scattered. So it's important just to eliminate any limiting beliefs that you have around money, things that might be blocking you financially, or that flow, or that idea of financial security. You know, just take a positive attitude about it to improve your situation overall. So with the Pride card, this was something I felt that related to issues around some tumultuousness or something around a personal relationship that was going to come into play. So it's about you swallowing your pride to improve your current situation and the quality of your life. So again, you're not admitting defeat. You're not saying that you're shaking, you know, another person's point of view and you're wrong and they're right. This is about raising your vibration so that you can achieve that happy, harmonious life, you know, that you want to create for yourself. Everything is always about finding the balance. We're given a challenge and a struggle, and it's about, you know, literally a game in a lot of ways. You know, the game of life, however, is a lot more intricate in that, you know, the way that we deal with issues in the game of life, literally the game. When you're playing a game, you can put away the pieces, win or lose. But when you're playing life, of course, there's a consequence and there's a residual. There's something that, you know, that you take with you that can create a train of events for future problems. So you have to be really, it's not to say that you can't fail. And I mean, a lot of very successful people say the whole point is to fail quickly. Fail quickly many times, do it in a really short period of time so that you finally have, you know, success in whatever it is that you're looking for. So sometimes we don't know what we're looking for in terms of a relationship or finances. And so, you know, we oftentimes need to have a bit of a fool's mind and take that leap of faith. I mean, with some level of preparation, you know, but sometimes having an what's the word I'm looking for here? Having an overly optimistic view before you start an entrepreneurial venture, this kind of thing is necessary just to throw yourself into the momentum to get yourself motivated to move towards something. So again, it's just a little point of interest, but again, with the Pride card, you know, coming through there, it is letting you know that, you know, I feel that it's you. I don't feel that it's you, you know, you being punished by another. I think it's you punishing someone else here. and I feel that it puts you out of alignment for the month of May, or the end of May, from May 18th on. So when it puts you out of alignment, I don't feel that you're able to gain things as quickly. It slows you down. It slows your success down. It, throws things into disharmony, all of that, of course. So, it's just, you want to open the door for a resolution. So you want to find a way to create a better relationship with others. And being stubborn and prideful doesn't really get you anywhere, because there's always a trade-off. There's a compromise. You either have to get rid of that person, or you have to judge them, or you have to hang on to that negativity to be able to, stay in your place of, strong conviction. And that doesn't allow you to, that stubbornness doesn't allow you to, well, you're certainly not humble, and you certainly aren't able to improve your situation, other than to just put up a whole bunch of blocks and then watch your back. And so that's what I'm saying is, sometimes just finding a compromise doesn't have to be 100% 50-50 between each party. Sometimes when you lose one battle, you gain down the road in another battle, because the other person may concede to you, just because you show some level of peacekeeping. It's not the word I'm really looking for, but anyway, showing some level of consideration for the other person. And a lot of times people know it when, when you are going out of your way to make amends of some sort. So I don't feel you're going to lose any kind of integrity there. I feel that it's just about you saying, look, I'm willing to cooperate with you. Let's try to find some middle ground here. And I do feel that you are fairly strong energy, a very strong person, that this is not something that you can't do. So moving on to the Wisdom of the Realms cards. These are the Moonlight card. And there's also, as I said, the Stuck in the Mud card. So I'll start with, actually, I will start with, I forgot the Lady of the Mirror at the end there too. I'll go back to that one. So I'll start with the Moonlight card here. So that one is about allowing your intuition to come through here. So, it's the allowing you to see beyond the mundane, the logical, and just to follow it. So you're not, getting too analytical. You're allowing yourself to go into places intuitively that allow you to, stop second guessing yourself. It's like almost the equivalent of the Hangman, really, where you're able to see an alternate perception. And your intuition is especially sharp right now with this card. So again, it's just about you going beyond the surface of things, and you will be successful if you follow that path. So with the owl, of course, in the card there, it's about making wise choices. I don't feel that you are 100% committed to making that choice. I think it's an option available to you, and it's really up to you to have it work in your favor. So with the Stuck in the Mud card, okay, that one is really letting you know that you're being invited to stop and allow yourself to be stuck for just a moment. It's a pause. It's a pause, a timeout, and it's just you almost tricking yourself. By thinking you're stuck, you're really just slowing yourself down so that you can actually take a look at where you're at, what your next course of action will be, and helping you to shift your focus, which it's not so coincidental really that it's right beside the Moonlight card, which was telling you just that. And so you do have the pause card letting you know that you need to shift your focus. You have the Moonlight card, which is telling you to shift your focus. And, it's just the struggle will continue unless you know what you're doing, unless you take your attention elsewhere and off the problem, then you can look from another angle on how to move forward. So it's just about helping you. You're just trying to find a way to clarify your circumstances here. So you will be out of the mud soon with that card. You definitely have forward movement, because you have a lot of options with these cards coming through, a lot of opportunity with the divine to help you resolve it. So I'm going to move up to the Lady of the Mirror card. And again, as I mentioned before, the Lady of the Mirror card was really about, I felt that your reputation was possibly something that you needed to really look at, because there's something about what you're doing or what you're thinking of that could work in against you. So it is a card of reflection and non-judgment. It is a card of, where you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're seeing, the ally, the person that, that you could be to resolve it, or you're seeing it as a challenge, that it's difficult to stay in a positive frame of mind to resolve it. So either way, it's that law of attraction, you are what you attract. So if you put up a whole bunch of boundaries and result, or sorry, and react with anger, then that's what you're going to get back. So it's not about blame. It's not about, seeing yourself as a victim. It's not about saying that you can't, have a feeling about a situation. It's just about, don't take it into levels of extreme distortion so that it's no longer resolvable. Because once you get it into extreme levels of distortion, it goes beyond, how you are able to integrate it. You can no longer integrate something if you feel you've made a decision, this is how that person is, and this is how it's going to be, and I'm going to take charge of the situation. I feel that the whole point of May, and again, I feel it's going to overlap into June as well, but I feel that it's letting you know, do without doing, achieve without that extreme effort and trying to control the situation. You can receive, positive energy without feeling like you're trying. It's that magic of Wu Wei. It's, it's about the art of not doing, it's about following the cycles and the rhythm of things. And there's vibration and frequencies, and you can have a very negative vibrance, or you can have a very negative vibration and a very positive vibration. I'm going to try to simplify it on this level, but both can be quite strongly resonating with the same energy. One is positive, one is negative, but the vibration that elevates you to the divine is the frequency that you're trying to achieve. So there's a vibration that you can get from being intensely angry or intensely positive. And when you're intensely positive, it raises your frequency so that you actually do have more answers, more solutions. I feel that as much as there is energy behind anger, it doesn't allow you to, doesn't allow you to expand. It's a closing off. It's an energy of restriction. So again, I feel that don't push for a solution. Step back, pause, and respond to what you're receiving. Instead of pushing or pulling against that flow, try to find that yin and yang, that balance. You're still taking action by responding, but it's with ease. You're doing things that expand you, that energize you. You're taking space for yourself. And in that space is where you're going to find things slow down so that you're not resisting it. So that's the point, is not to resist, is what I'm saying here. I feel that the answer will come when you take the rage element out of it and the vengeance and respond versus react. Okay, so moving on. So again, back to Lady of the Mirror, again, that card was also saying the same thing, really, about finding yourself within, whether it's relationships or opportunities and things that you might have seen as failures in desires or success or whatever it is, just to observe how you respond to those challenges. Because again, I hesitate to say that certain things are fated to test our faith, but I do feel that I don't feel that I don't feel it as a negative. I feel that I feel that's part of the nature of life, and we attach the negative or the positive thought to it, but it's really the momentum of energy. And that momentum of energy is what keeps the flow of life going. It's what keeps things cycling. It's the ebb and the flow. It's the seasons changing. Your chaos causing destruction, causing recreation, causing rebirth, all of that. So again, I don't want to say fated. I do feel that we have some degree of control or response to whatever comes our way. But again, for the month of May, I don't feel you need to be pushing ahead. I feel you need to be responding by taking action in a really easy way and allowing things to be received and flow through you versus you judging it. As the card says, it's a reflection, non-judgment. You want to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I forgave this person, or I allowed them this I allowed the situation to move ahead without a consequence, because I feel that the motive, like the outcome, the relationship perhaps has more meaning to me, and it's not for me to judge them and reprimand them. It's for them to judge themselves and discover their own motives. So again, I feel it's not your part to discipline this person or make them see the error of their ways. I feel they are on their own journey, and your part in that journey for the moment anyway, for May, is just to allow it to flow through. Let this person figure it out. It's not, even if it does impact you, I don't feel that. I feel the impact is going to it'll be determined based on your reaction as to how much it affects you. Okay, so moving on. So again, on to breakthrough and on to wholeness. And again, one really follows the other. It's the 22 and the 24 card. So these are the rune cards here. And it's pretty much, again, self-explanatory. With breakthrough, you are or have the potential to, again, I've kind of got I feel like you're a little bit of a stalemate right now. I don't feel that you've chosen this way yet, but you do have the potential for a breakthrough. As I said, with the breakthrough rune card, this one is really just letting you know it's signaling you, that there's a major shift, a breakthrough of self-change that is going to complete the transformation in your attitude, which will bring about wholeness. So again, that's a card of whatever your present vantage point is, you need to, if you choose to take that breakthrough and follow, and trust, because it's kind of a radical trust that you're having to make here. I feel that this is not something that you normally would accept. I feel that this is something that is going to be something that you will have a hard time accepting. But I feel that if you do accept it, there'll be a major period of achievement and prosperity that is coming for you. And that darkness will be behind you, because you will have finally broken through whatever this situation was. But it does take you not collapsing into your future, right? You're not being reckless here. This is about you doing the hard work and allowing yourself that time to transmute into something else. And again, I don't feel everything's done in a week or two, but whatever this beginning is starts in the month of May. And, who knows when it fully resolves, because I think there's always a bit of a push-pull until we finally are able to absorb the darker parts of ourselves, or the repressed parts, or the parts of ourselves that, we weren't able to deal with in perhaps a relationship that was unresolved, or a death that wasn't fully, dealt with. It takes time, and it's not all done within a year or two. Sometimes we go back and we reflect on it, and then there's another piece of the puzzle that we are able to integrate. So with this, but for sure in the month of May, you are making some steady progress toward that. So with the wholeness card, this is also, again, it's, you're moving toward that self-realization. You're moving toward that path that's at your core, of your individuality. It's about you being conscious and bringing things into form and being able to express it in some way, whether it's creative or, just regenerating on some level. So either way, when a person regenerates, oftentimes this allows us to feel more energy in our life in other ways. So that will help you to, move ahead in your own personal goals as well, financially and so on. But it's about letting the light in with this card. I feel that you've shut away a part of yourself here. There's a secret of some sort that I feel you're keeping, and you've locked it and you've retreated, and there's caution around it. But just to remember, this is a practice. In opening these doors, it's a practice of going back to the door each time and taking another little step to deal with it. So the ultimate goal is to be whole, and that's where you're headed. Once you make this breakthrough, you're on that journey to wholeness. Again, it's not all happening in the month of May. Things overlap, but there is some significant work that is being done in the month of May that is going to make you feel as though you can move forward. Okay, so moving on to, I'm actually going to go to the steampunk cards. So as I mentioned before, with the Five of Swords and the Empress, individually, the Five of Swords speaks to, fives aren't always a really positive card. With the Five of Swords, it can be kind of a hard win of sorts. It's a victory, but it's got some level of defeat involved. This could be relating to, if you win, this could also relate to you having damaged your reputation, which I'd mentioned earlier. You might be a little bit too self-righteous here. I just feel that your approach is going to matter here, because it is going to affect things on a greater level, which will be not just for the month of May. I feel that it's going to be a long-term consequence. So just to be really careful, and as I say, respond going with the flow versus reacting. But again, when I mentioned that analogy about playing games, when you are playing a game on a board, you can put the pieces away and everybody forgets who won or who lost. The game is over and everybody goes back to their previous, daily life. But when in life, when you're playing the game of life, and it is a game, like I said, because you're leveraging up, you're, taking losses, you're getting wins, you're constantly evolving to try to, weather a new set of circumstances. But when in the game of life, when you lose, the other part of it is in reality, is that you oftentimes, people will want to regain what they gave up. And that's when you get manipulation. That's when you get bullying. That's when you have, unfair trickery and lies and foundations that are built in a very precarious way, which means they will eventually fall. It's not really about winning at that point. That's just vengeful, and there is a consequence. There's repercussions for that kind of victory. So you just want to weigh out the cost. Is it more than it's worth to tear down somebody and win in the short term, but lose the relationship or lose your integrity, your reputation, and whatever else might be revolving around that financially, stability, etc. So just again, be really careful in how you approach some kind of confrontation that's coming up for you in the month of May. And my poor card here is sort of bitten it a bit, so you just have to overlook the crimp in the card. But anyway, this is the Empress card, and of course, individually, the card speaks to abundance and creation, and really positive things. It's the cycles of life and death, and chaos, creation, and destruction, all of that stuff. But again, I feel this represents you. I feel that you come up in a few different areas here, but I feel with the Empress, this is a part of your power. I feel that you are somebody who has that ability to tap into this energy here and create it, or rather mold it into a positive, to your advantage. So again, I would stay in that energy of keeping it positive, and being the bigger person rather than fighting your way through and making a bigger mess down the road. So going into the I think I'll go into the Two of Spades at the top here. The Two of Spades and the Queen of Diamonds. So these two cards, again, this is the Gypsy fortune telling deck. The card twos basically are about balance, but you have to understand when you're using a different deck, there's usually a little bit more of a twist on the meanings. They're a little bit different than how it might resonate in a Rider-Waite deck here, like this one. But with the Two of Spades, as I say, this is a card really, it is about harmony and balance. But again, this card really mimics the other card here with stuck in the mud, because and notice that's also a 2 and a 4. So 2, 4, 8, any of those are all about finding peace and balance, and that is also coming through with that. You've got a lot of repeats in this reading, so it is strongly emphasized that you need to pause, you need to be using tact, you need to be cautious. It is still an optimistic card, but it is letting you know that there is difficulty that you are coming to. It's a difficult decision that you're having to arrive at here. So it's not a bad card, but it is letting you know that there is a difficult decision that you're having to make, and whether you feel like right now you're having to walk on eggshells by avoiding saying the wrong thing, as the card promotes, it's still a temporary card. Again, it's going to pass once May. You're being tested, and it's how you prepare and approach the test, the test of how to temper yourself so that everybody's not afraid, and that you maintain your power, not by destroying another, but by being diplomatic and pausing before you speak and being tactful. Because I think as an Aries, a lot of times the energy of an Aries is to be a lot more assertive, but you don't want to ruffle feelings with this for this month of May. And it's, again, repeated over and over with the cards. So really, please take heed of that. This is a situation that, you're not the only one who wouldn't want to be in it, whatever the situation is. But again, how you deal with it is going to affect your reputation. It's either going to enhance your reputation and lead you on into this next cycle, of life where things are better and more promising, or it's going to detract away from you, and you'll eventually be faced with the same or similar kind of situation again, where you're either going to be expected to destroy someone else, or really cause harm, or you're going to be able to, stay in your power and realize that you have the upper hand, and you've always had the upper hand. So with the Queen of Diamonds, again, in this particular reading, this deck, I feel this also represents you. It does fit well with a Taurus. So, if it isn't you, it could, have a Taurus energy as well. But either way, it does represent a mature woman, because diamonds are often associated with age. So again, this doesn't resonate for everybody, for sure. If there's younger people in the reading, take it how it applies. I mean, this could be somebody that you're having the difficulty with. But either way, there is a mature woman here. It is someone who doesn't look her age. Could be a very light complexion person as well with that. But either way, there's some kind of frustration that this person is feeling, or that you're frustrated with them. But this person, as a personality that's coming through, would be somebody who's, able to make quick decisions, and, they're able to act upon those decisions. They might be coming off a little aggressive, prone to making public scenes, that kind of thing when they're offended. But on the positive side of things, they can be a really good friend and a great advisor. So, again, trying to stay in the middle there, to create some balance. But either way, there's frustration. Either it's you who is the frustration, or somebody else who has that frustration. So on to the next one, which these are the last of the general energy cards. So these are, I guess I'll read those ones. That's the Four of Gabriel. And again, that card is time for a celebration, abundant rewards. These are advice cards. Abundant rewards for hard work, release yourself from burdensome situations. So fours again are about finding balance. And so, obviously there is some expansion here. I feel that you have made some kind of a decision throughout that has allowed you to, to have something to celebrate here, because it could be an important event, engagement, birth, anything that is expanding your social life here. There's some reason that you are getting out and having some fun with the Four of Gabriel. So again, you're bringing some people around you. It's that you're feeling stable, and there's some peacefulness that is coming through at some point here anyway, because that's just general energies for the month of May 18th on to the end. And then we also have the Queen of Raphael. Usually it could indicate a person, but it could also be situational. But it's about following your heart. It's a love of home and family, trustworthy psychic information, which the cards also spoke to you having strong psychic intuition at this time. But again, I felt that you had some reserve in the earlier parts of perhaps May 18th range. But it is about you regaining some heart strength here. So your relationships with others are starting to come through in a more positive way. You've got a strong sense of love for home and family. And, things are starting to be loving, and there's nurturing, problem solving, and all of that goes with understanding and giving, and that reciprocation is all coming through with that card. So there is some kind of balance that you're finding here. There's also the Knight of Ariel, it's usually a message that's coming through here. There's so much to accomplish. Make a very detailed plan, being watched over by someone kind. So if you do have someone that's passed on, for sure you have angel protection here. But again, in terms of a situation, it's just that, making a plan, getting organized, getting things, just being more methodical, slow and steady, that kind of thing. But in terms of a person, this would be someone who has great kindness and understanding. This is someone that can be coming through, either it's yourself or someone around you, that is loyal and trustworthy, funny, creative, and has your best interests at heart. So I do feel this is a person that's in your sphere, so that you can trust and rely on them. Okay, so getting into the last part of it, this is the career and finance elements here. And I do feel that, there's some uncertainty here toward the end of May. And I don't feel that you don't have your finances under control, but I'm going to put it this way. I feel that your finances are something you worry about, because maybe there's been some kind of a change, some kind of upheaval, something that has, kind of rocked the boat a little bit, but I still feel that you're in control of that change. So again, with the Seven of Cups, sevens are still a really positive, forward-moving, kind of energy. It does speak to Just looking to see if you've got more than one. I think it's just the one there. But because it does mean something when there's more than one. But it does speak to you doing some soul searching and pulling back, just the number 7 in itself. So, outside of that, the cards are also speaking to, with the 7 of Cups, it could be a couple of things, but it can speak to, money increasing soon, but not yet. But it also speaks to some confusion around your finances. I feel that there is some kind of lack of understanding. It was clarified with the Queen of Wands, which I feel is also representing you, but it could also be somebody around you. But I just feel that there's some disorganization going on here. I just feel that there's confusion. You could have a lot of choices here. With work, maybe it's a work situation that's caused some confusion. It's just there's just a certain degree of just trying to see if it's some kind of bullying situation or something that's coming through there. But I just feel that you're a little bit stuck. I just want to read through the rest of the cards here and see where that leads. But I do feel that you're feeling anxiety overall. There's some kind of anxiety that's coming through here from the 18th on. So, but again, anyway, with the Queen of Wands, the Queen is really somebody who is really energetic. Again, if we're speaking about a person, I mean, this is somebody who's energetic, charismatic, outgoing. I do feel this is actually you, a career-oriented person. I do feel that there was a lot of anxiety, but I do feel that you're getting yourself focused here because that is the nature of the Queen of Wands. She's an alpha. She's a really courageous person. She's really independent. This is somebody who's protective, socialite, that kind of thing. Bit of a chameleon, very creative, competitive, likes her own way, that kind of thing. Somebody who likes to keep up appearances, that kind of thing as well. And but again, it's somebody who takes action here, and she is prone to anxiety. So it's not unusual that those two are together here. But this card does represent a Leo, Aries, or a Sagittarius. So again, you're coming through in your own reading. So I do feel, as I said, this is you. The cards that are coming through with the King and the Queen of Pentacles following that, I do feel are related to, there's some kind of imbalance there. But I just feel that, there is, because the King really represents somebody who's got it together. He's standing in his own power, strong business person. Again, this could be representing individuals, but so I'm going to read it that way as well, but I feel it's a little bit more than that. So again, if we're talking about a person, the King of Pentacles is somebody who's disciplined and successful and competent and responsible, drive, determination, all of those things, good entrepreneurial, goal-seeking individual, somebody who sees things through, somebody who's very business-oriented and practical and stable, somebody who's got the Midas touch here. But again, because it is the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, I just feel that this combination shows that there's an imbalance of some sort. So maybe this is where the conflict is in terms of whether it's a relationship or whether it's related to a business relationship. One person is really somebody who is that practical person, keeping things, together. And then with the Queen of Pentacles, there's an imbalance because the two of them are not agreeing on how things are being saved or spent. There is 2 queens in the reading as well, which usually means there's some support through friends and family, that kind of thing. Or career help. It can also speak to career help. But normally with the Queen upright, it's business success and she's practical and there's working solutions and this kind of thing. But I feel that there is some kind of disorder. There's a disorganization of some sort. There's some kind of maybe manipulation or jealousy or laziness, something that's coming through that's causing an imbalance with the money in the month of, toward the end again of May. So somebody's not, hustling, they're not getting things going, they don't have priorities, and it's really ticking you off or ticking them off because there is a tower moment that's coming. And for sure, with the Seven of Wands, oh, and that's right, I do feel it is related to love as well. I think this is more of a partnership because two sevens usually do relate to kind of a true love energy here that is, or a sense of love that's coming through here. But again, I mean, it doesn't have to be. It's just an inference. But with the Seven of Wands, again, there's a battle of some sort. And it's usually with ourselves with the Seven of Wands, but I feel it's about, fears coming up and there's doubts and vulnerability, and somebody is asserting their right and facing criticism and, kind of battling to win, and feeling that the odds are against them because there's some kind of a judgment coming through, and this person's out of their comfort zone. But when it comes to, and again, it could be on the job front, but when it comes to the Judgment card, this is really, it's a clarifier. So, with the Tower moment, which means there's some kind of difficulty or breakthrough, because the Tower moment is about a destruction of an old way. There's some kind of personal crisis going on here. Could be, about a relationship idea, how you think a relationship should be, and that's not how it's turning out. And so there's some kind of sudden change that's coming about here with that card. I don't know that I see it as a breakup necessarily, although there is a lot of tension there. But it's something that's sudden. And it could be a loss of a job, but moving on to something else, because there's an optimistic card here. But again, I still feel like it's in around a relationship of some sort. Again, it could be a relationship at work as well. But either way, there is some kind of intense, sudden change that's coming through here with the Tower. And it's a new realization either way, because you've got the Death card, which is the end of an old cycle and moving into something new. So it's a parting of ways in some way. There's a transition here. It's the end of, as I say, end of a cycle. There's a change that's coming through here. And I do feel that it's a deep change of some sort. You're letting go of something, some kind of negative attachment to something, which I think is in your own head. I think something was holding you back that you might let shadow over, what the idea of, again, what a relationship might have been. You're letting that shadow how it needed to be or how it should be. And I think you're letting go of that here with this card. You're eliminating what isn't necessary there. There's some kind of sacrifice that's happening here, so that you have more control over your life. But again, it's the way you react to the obstacle. And it looks like you must have been enlightened on some level, because you did get the Star card following that as a clarifier. So that transition was made because it's the end of that upheaval, and you've averted the misfortune because you got the Star card. So again, that is... with the Star card, it can speak to, you following your North Star and that kind of thing, but you're letting the divine guide you here as well. It's about regaining your motivation, and you've got inspiration again. You're optimistic. You're just feeling like the hard time is over. That difficulty has been overcome in some way. And you're feeling much more happy and enthusiastic and positive. And I do feel it was around a traditional relationship, which upset the balance with the Four of Wands here. Because there's a newfound harmony here. There's you've been shown the way. There's that beacon of light that's coming through to, give you some light. And get you out of the darkness. So again, it's just a loving phase in life, and you're trusting in the universe here. It's renewal, it's optimism, it's calm and healing. You've got your motivation back with this card. You're using good common sense. You're listening to your intuition with the star card. You've just got renewed sense of yourself, and it could even relate to your self-esteem, but you're wanting to give back. This is a time for peace. And again, I do feel it is around that traditional relationship, because the Hierophant does represent just that. Somebody, usually with the Hierophant, it represents somebody who can be a little bit stubborn and wants things their way. And, it can be quite a rigid card, because they have an established way of doing things. And, they want things the way they want it, and without regard to others. And so I think that was probably you, could be somebody else, in your sphere there as well. But I feel that, sorry, I'll shift that a little bit so you can see it. But I do feel that Hierophant is that committed traditional relationship, that you found some new sense of harmony with. Because as I say, with the Four of Wands, it did upset the balance, because it is in reverse, and I don't feel that you were happy about it. It was a time of neediness. So whether somebody else was being needy or you were being needy, but it's just somebody that could have been acting like your shadow, and kind of also causing some kind of upheaval. But it's the reverse of happy harmony and home, that kind of thing. But again, everything's been righted with the star card, and you've reached the end of the cycle, because the Tower card and the Death card are coming through fairly close in proximity. So again, that is pretty much the month of May. I hope that gave you some insight, and hope everybody's staying safe. And sorry for the long readings, but that's just how it comes to me. And of course, I have the extra time right now, so I am trying to be as detailed as possible when I give you the reading. So anyway, until June, which I'll try to get the readings out a little faster. If you like it, and if you like my readings and they do resonate for you, please like and subscribe and support my channel. And until June.